was a failure, right? We struggled. We didn't do a good enough job, and we got to do stuff different and change to be better. So there's no running from that. Obviously, I'm very disappointed. I think all of you guys are. It wasn't fun to watch, right? It wasn't fun to watch our team lose and not compete at the level that we all expected. And so, you know, I'm here for it. I'm here to be accountable, just like, you know, our players, coaches, front office, everyone is too. And so disappointing is the right word. Embarrassing, you can use whatever word you want to use on it, but not happy with the season. With that being said, you know, I'm here talking to you guys, and we're going to make some changes, right? And as the owner, my job is to, you know, make those changes and do things differently, because what we just tried and did over the last 2.5 years has not been as successful as we hoped. A lot of people would have seen the things we did and said, just like a lot of people picked us to, you know, be third best chance to win the NBA championship this year. So a lot of people thought it worked. We thought it would work. It didn't work. There's a lot of people that thought that a couple years ago when we made Kevin Durant trade. Like, people, like smart people, can all think it makes sense, and then looking back, it's like it didn't, and it didn't work. So we will make changes. The biggest change that I want to talk about is, you know, on me. I'm accountable to this one, which is I have to do a better job of setting the identity of the Phoenix Suns. You know, I've been out in Phoenix for the last 2.5 years. I love the community. It's great. The fans are great. You know, I want to put a team out there on the court that everyone's proud of. And proud of has to have an identity that's, you know, similar to Phoenix, you know, with some little bit of grit, some determination, some work ethic, some grind, some joy, you know, and so we just haven't had that. We did it a different way, and it didn't work. And so I will do a better job as the owner of setting the tone on the vision. Just like there's other organizations, you can talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, you kind of know what they mean when you talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, or even my old team, Michigan State basketball. You kind of know what you're going to get when you talk about Michigan State basketball. What is Phoenix Suns basketball? And so that's on me. That's a change that's coming, and it will be undeniable. You will know the difference next year. There will be seasons in my next 40, 50 years with you guys that we lose more games than this, but we'll feel much better about it because we'll have an identity, and we'll play, and we'll compete, and you'll be like, they were fun to watch. The fans enjoyed it. And now, to give a credit to the fans, and the reason I'm here today to speak to the fans and to all of you guys, like, our fans were stuck by us. And you know what? There's times that I could see that they wouldn't want to, right? And they were probably disappointed and felt bad about the team. And like, I get it. I watched every game, every second of every game too. And so it was a disappointing season, but we will set the identity of the Phoenix Suns and Phoenix Suns basketball, and it's going to be very much aligned with this community, with Phoenix. And I'm excited about those changes, and you're going to see them, and it will be undeniable. And it will be coming soon. And so be ready for that. I'm here to take any question. Like, I can talk for an hour with you guys, but I'll take your guys' questions because I think you'd prefer asking me questions. The only comment I'll make is I'm not going to get into every player, every contract, like right now I'm here. I just got here last night. I'm here to meet with everybody, make some changes, and we are going to make changes, and that's going to come. And once again, you will be proud of the team, and I'm with you guys. I'm embarrassed, and by the way, it's not just me. Players, coaches, front office, like I said, security guards, everyone's part of this. We all felt like it was a disappointing season, and we're accountable, and the fans deserve better, and we will deliver better going forward. So with that, I'll pause and take any questions and how you guys want to handle it.
Hey, Matt. Gerald Bourget, PHNX Sports. You mentioned the need for change. Obviously, letting go of Mike Budenholzer was the first one. Does that extend to the front office in terms of James or Josh's role moving forward?
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of change. Here's what I'll say. Coach Bud, that change was made. Didn't need more evaluation. Everything's going to be evaluated, but it's going to start with me being accountable and setting an identity, and then making sure that the identity we set for Phoenix Suns is set from the ownership. The fans are going to love it and be proud of it. The front office is aligned. The coaches are aligned. The players are aligned. And there's going to be players that sometimes we don't take the most talented player because they don't align with what we believe in. And so those are the changes I'm going to be focused on right now, and then they all will fall into line. And we are going to be making changes, and there's going to be things that are going to be different. And like I said, we will be better. You will enjoy watching our team much better next year, and that's my job. My job is to put up. I think there's a lot of things that I do as an owner, you know. But one of the 4 things I talked about when I was just bought the team 2.5 years ago was winning. Right? Like we talked about community. I think we're doing a heck of a job. We talk about fan experience. I think we do a lot of things that other people don't do. I think culture, like we do a lot of great things. I had to do something. Winning has not been where we want. And part of that is we had high expectations and we've missed the bell by a lot. Not just last year, but this year and last year, obviously. Or not this year, last year and this year. And changes are coming.
Matt, Shane Young with Forbes. I'm sure you, over the last couple of days, probably saw a national reporter make some, ridiculous statements about you might be being the worst team owner or worst owner in professional sports history. Just kind of wondering what your response is, if you have one.
Yeah, so Stephen A. Smith, I don't take much he says seriously, I don't think many people do, to be honest with you. The things he said about Kevin Durant, just wrong and disrespectful. The things he said about LeBron James were just disrespectful and inappropriate. And so with that being said, I don't really think Stephen A. believes what he said. I think, he's doing his thing, he's on the mic and he's doing what he's, and I think he'll apologize to me because I think it's disrespectful to put my name and, aligned with anybody that was kicked out of the league or no longer part. Like, yeah, if he wants to say for the first 2.5 years Mat Ishbia bought the team, we didn't win a championship, I think you probably said about almost every owner ever. But yeah, we had high expectations and we didn't win. We spent a lot of money and we didn't win. Yep. Yeah. Be critical of me on that. But to even say that kind of stuff, like I said, that's just, I think, like I said, he'll apologize. I think he was out of line. And I think he knows that. I don't think he really believes that. With that being said, like, what is a great owner? Right? Like my job, like I'm definitely not shooting. You don't want to see me shoot or play or coach. Like, what am I supposed to do? And my job is to provide resources so that when my GM, my front office, my coach want something, want a player, like that I say yes. I don't focus on profitability. I focus on winning. I focus on the community. I focus on the fan experience. And so I focus on those things. I think that's what makes a great owner. I think if you ask people in Phoenix, they probably think I'm a great owner. The TV, all the games on TV for free, like that's a big profitability hit, but we led with that. I walked the concourse and realized the concession stand prices are crazy, and we lower the prices. Like that's what I think a great owner would do. Investing in the Mercury, $100 million practice facility, like that's kind of what I think a great owner would do. Community, we brought the WNBA All-Star Game, we're bringing the NBA All-Star Game, we put millions of dollars into the community, doing a lot of things. Like, I think that's my role. Now, let's be clear, winning is part of my job too. Right, but there's a lot of things a great owner would do, and to even put me in that category, I thought was disrespectful. And like I said, we'll just move on from that. I don't really spend much time thinking about him. I'm sorry.
Matt, I think there's some confusion within your fan base and in the media about who's making basketball decisions, and a lot of time people are pointing the finger at you. Can you just kind of clarify your role in the decision-making process as far as basketball personnel?
Yeah, so I don't watch film. I don't scout players. We got great scouts, great front office. My role is to enable. So first off, my role is to put those people in those positions, right? And so putting the right people in the positions to make the right decisions, and then empowering them. So when someone comes to me about a trade and says, hey, we can do this, but it's going to put us over the luxury tax, my job is to say, as an owner, say, hey, if you really believe this guy will fit with our team, let's do it. What do we got to do to make it happen? Right? And so if people you think I'm watching film, let's give credit to the scouts, and it's almost disrespectful to give me this credit in some of these things, or blame, whatever way you want to say it. Like, you think I interviewed Ryan Dunn and watched his film and watched 100 hours of work and called his college coach and decided that we wanted Ryan Dunn last year? No. James, Josh, the scouts, they picked Ryan Dunn. Now, when it came down at 22, when he was available, they're like, should we take him? We can move back and get him. Like, I'm in that conversation with them. But I don't pick Ryan Dunn, so give kudos to those guys. And same thing, like, if you think we sign a free agent and oh, this free agent's gonna be fit, like, you think Mat Ishbia is watching film and seeing, is this guy gonna, I'm not good enough to do that. I'm not watching film and deciding this guy's gonna be a good fit because his mentality is that's not me, right? And so you can blame me, I'm fine taking the blame, but my job is to set the tone at the top. And I've done it, you can blame me for that, because I've done a bad job. I think I did a great job with the culture, the fan experience, the community, and setting the tone. But I also listen to a lot of the media people and say, oh, the new owner, he's not supposed to get involved. So I almost let the NBA be the NBA, and I'm going to change that, where I'm going to set the tone on the vision of what Phoenix Suns basketball is about. And there will not be another season that I sit here with you guys, which I don't think any other owners will do this with you guys, and I'm here for it. I'm here to take the criticism, take the blame, and talk about everything. But I will sit here at the end of the next, there won't be another year I sit here at the end where you don't say, man, They didn't win as much, but those guys played hard. They were fun to watch. They competed. That's Phoenix basketball. You know, whether we win a championship or we lose 50 games, you'll have a different feel. And so, but you know, don't think that I'm going to actually go there and like draft players or look at scout and film. Like that's not the owner. That's not me. There are some owners that probably do that. That's just not me. I'm the decision maker on things. Yeah, so let me say it like this. We have a collaborative group. I don't believe, and I know all the owners, I don't think there's an owner in the NBA that there's a trade that goes on that owner does not say go with it or don't go with it. I'm the same way. If you think I'm the one that sits there and says, hey, we got this guy, let me go through all the salary cap sheets and debate, like, that's the front office. That's Josh, that's James, that's Matt Tellum, and they come up with ideas, they call the teams, they bring the ideas, and they might say, let's do this, or say not, and then say, what do you think? And I'm in that conversation. Our coach is involved with that conversation too, but it's a collaborative effort, but I'm definitely not initiating draft, trade idea. Like, once again, I run a mortgage company most of the day, and I'm very active, but I will, and going forward, just to be clear, I'm not going to shy away from it, I will do a better job, and I am accountable to setting the vision and the tone for the Phoenix Suns basketball organization, and I've not done a good enough job, so that it'll be very clear when a player is being traded for, that it's like, oh yeah, he's kind of like that. He fits that mold, and I will be part of that, and that's my job. But like, I don't know all 450 players in the NBA, and I definitely don't know every player coming out in the draft. And you know, for people to think that I'm going to know that, or like people like this, oh, Ishbia, what a horrible decision. Like you can blame me for what you want, but I'm involved to a point, but I'm not analyzing film, etc.
Yes, right here, Matt. Very good. Just two things real quick. One, obviously the season ended like you wanted it to be. So why, in your opinion, did the season go the way it did?
You know, there's a lot of reasons. The way I look at it is, you know, I do think that we had a much better roster than a 36-win team, right? And I think on the court, every game, we did not play better than a 36-win team. We did not compete hard enough. We did not make adjustments well enough. There's a lot of things we could have done differently. But from my view, it ties to, you know, we didn't play the way a lot of other teams are playing, and really what we believe in here, which is with a lot of, you know, there's a lot of grit, defensive. I mean, you can talk about defense, was 28th in the league or whatever it was. Like, that's just not what we're going to be about, right? And so I think there's a lot of things, and there's a disconnect from what we believe we should be playing like and what we actually saw on the floor. And that's why we made one change so far, and we will make other changes to make sure that the Phoenix fans know what to expect and are proud of what we have out there.
Quick follow. I find it interesting. Obviously, you being in the position you're in, you've hired a lot of people, so you know exactly what you're looking for when you make a hire. So what exactly are you going to be looking for moving forward in a head coach?
We're going to look for someone that fits the vision of the Phoenix Suns basketball organization, someone that's going to live out exactly what I'm talking about, someone that's a little bit grimy, a little bit grinder, a little bit tough, have a little bit of that in them. You know, I joke, but it's true. Like, I'm no talent, all heart. That's my life. Like, I have no more. I wasn't born with a mortgage. Not like I will just outwork everyone. I'm going to have a coach, a front office, players that the Phoenix community will love, because it's going to be that. It's going to be. We'll hopefully get some talent too. And I'm not saying no talent, right? We got talent and heart and grind, but that's who I am. And so I'm looking for someone that's more aligned with that vision, and I have to define that vision. I'm going to work with the front office, and we're going to work with some of the players and the organization, and say, what does Phoenix Suns basketball really mean? And we're going to get a coach that doesn't tell me that they think that, but actually believes it in their heart, and that's where they come from, and that's how I think about it. And same thing all the way through front office. If we hire a new scout, we pick up a free agent, like, there's going to be a very clear line on that, and that's my job. And if it's not done, then blame me once again.
Matt, Richard Sides, Fox 10, good to see you. Kind of to piggyback off Dwayne's question here, have you ever had a year, whether it's in business, in sports, as a player, as an owner, where you've made moves and made decisions where you think, okay, this is a good move, this is a good decision, it doesn't pan out the way you thought it would be? Like you said, you thought you had a team that was more than a 36-win team. Has that ever happened before? And what have you learned from this to avoid this happening again?
Yeah, well, I've learned a lot from it, but the one thing I will comment on is that, yeah, you know, I've been pretty successful in the mortgage business. Don't think that it's been a straight line up. Like in everything in life, it's been 22 years. In the first 19 years, I was not number one. I think I wasn't even in the top 500 the first 10 years, right? Like, so we built from 12 people to 9,000 people. There's a lot of things that you learn along the way, and you make changes. The biggest thing that I'm able to do, and you'll learn about me, and I think you've probably seen it, and people can criticize for it, is when I make a mistake or things don't go well, I change fast, and we make quick moves. And I'm not afraid to do that. And the mortgage business included. We tried that didn't work, pivot, right? And we will do that. And some people say, oh, be more patient, let it go. Like, patience isn't gonna be my strongest suit, okay? We're gonna try to compete and win, and we're gonna get better. And you know what? I'm very patient if I think we're on the right path and plan. So say it again, like I expect us to win more games next year, but let's just say we lost more games next year, but it was aligned the vision and the tone that I'm gonna set, and we're on the path, then we're going to go that way. And that would mean I might sit and say there's no changes because we're actually online. I think as a development, we're going to go this way and go that way. Now, I don't expect us to lose more games next year, to be clear, but like that's how I think about it. So yes, there's always going to be ups and downs in any business. You know, of course, I would love to win a championship my first 2 years as an owner. I promise you but it didn't happen. But I promise you we will. We will win championships with an S at the end here in Phoenix, and I'm going to be here for it with you guys, and we'll have a more fun press conference then. Thank you.
Matt, a year ago at this press conference, it seemed like you were pretty confident that you guys were on the right track. Was there a certain time this year where you talked about the lack of kind of grit and grind and joy and fun that it felt like a revelation or an awakening that things were not on the right track?
Yeah, you know, we definitely noticed it wasn't on track. Probably, you know, right around the New Year time frame. And, you know, we tried a lot of different things to make it get back on track, and it didn't work. And so, you know, how do I change and pivot fast, right? And we tried to do some stuff, and we did some things in the middle of the season, and we made some changes, and you know, there's all different things, and probably, I promise you, thousands of discussions, you know, probably tens of thousands with them, and probably they included me in 10 or 100 of them, but lots of discussions to make us better and what we tried. And we tried different things, and it didn't resonate, it didn't work. And once again, I keep going back to, you know, what are we about here? And let's define that, and let's make sure the players, the coaches, the GM, the front office, the scouts, the fans, the media all know. And I think that starts today. And so I will be better with that, and like that's why I'm here, and I'm here to take the blame and accountability. And you know, obviously, like I said, I don't think there's there aren't that many other owners, you know, whether they make the playoffs or don't make the playoffs, that sit up in front of you guys and take the questions. And I'm good with it. I'm proud of what I've done, and I'm proud of what we're doing here and what we're building. And I'll be accountable that on the basketball side, we have not done a good enough job, and that will change. On the business side, on the culture side, on the community side, on the fan experience thing, I think we've done a great job. Still can get better on all of those things, and we will, but the basketball side will get better, and that starts now, and you'll start to see those changes.
Matt, Cameron Cox, 12 News. What went wrong with Coach Bud this year in your eyes, and then what processes are you changing to make sure that you get this next hire right?
Yeah, we got to get the next hire right, and we will. The team and the roster that was constructed by James, Josh, the scouts, the front office is much better than a 36-win roster. So there's a lot of reasons why Coach Bud's not here. I'm not going to get to all those reasons, but definitely believe we should have won a lot more games and been a lot more competitive during those games as well. And so wish him the best, but it was the wrong coach for our organization and for that team. And at the end of the day, you know, you can blame me for it because, you know, I'm the owner at the end of the day.
Matt, Colin Harmon, ABC 15 Sports. When it comes to the change in approach, do you anticipate spending anywhere near the level that you have this past season?
As in salary?
Yeah, in terms of your roster. I mean, is that something that?
Yeah. So you know, don't want to have the highest paid team and doesn't make the playoffs, right? That's embarrassing and disappointing, right? So spending is not something that like the front office is like, oh, Matt says we can't do this because of money. Like we want to win. I'm a fan Like, I'm with you guys. We want to win. Money's not going to be an obstacle, but at the same time, I'm not foolish. I don't expect us to have the highest payroll in the NBA next year, and I don't expect us to not make the playoffs next year. So that answers both the question at the same time. But I'm aware of all the aprons, the first apron, the second apron, all the rules that tie to all those things, and we're definitely going to make adjustments but it's not to spend less money, right? Like, I make a lot of decisions here in Phoenix, and hopefully go back to I think answered one of the questions earlier about ownership. Like, I make a lot of decisions that are not about, like, most people own a business, it's like, how do you make money? The business is not here to make money. The business is here to win, do great things in the community, make a great fan experience, right? Set a right culture, be a leader in the NBA and WNBA, and win. And so we'll do some different things, but I don't expect us at the highest payroll next year.
Matt, the last 2 coaching hires you've had were in May, right after your exits in the season as a team. So wondering if you're going to have a little bit of a elaborate process of finding the next coach, maybe in a different time frame, depending on the roster construction.
Yeah, so it starts with, what is Phoenix Suns basketball going to be about? Let's make sure that we're aligned from ownership to front office, then find the right coach, and then let's make sure the players are aligned with that and they know. And by the way, I keep saying things that I'm not going to get into all the details, but we're going to get detail to, like, from things like, you're going to see a lot more joy on the court. You're going to see people helping each other up when they get hit on the floor. Like, I can get to a very level of detail of what Phoenix Suns basketball is about, but our coach has to believe that stuff as well. It can't be, I believe this and the front office believes this, then the coach is like, yeah, but I don't care if, the guys are cheering the guys on. I don't care if the guys are paying attention in the huddle. I don't care. Like, that's not going to go with us. So we got to set it first up front with the leadership, and it starts with me. And we will do that. And then we will get the right front office structure with scouts and players, and then they're going to know what to look for in the draft, and then we're going to find the right coach, and it will be a process. So I don't expect, you're not going to see a coach hired in the next week or 2, if that's what your question is. We're going to go through the right process, and we're going to get it right. And it's going to be a team effort to get it right, but it starts with me about, like I said, I'm accountable. Let's set the tone right. Let's set about what Phoenix is all about. And I think that I'm excited for what you guys are going to see. And it doesn't feel exciting right now because it's April and we're not watching basketball, but you'll be excited next year.
Hey, Matt, Brendan Glean, Locked On Suns podcast. I think a lot of people hearing your emphasis on identity and a lot of the words you're using, the way you're trying to think about things, would hear an echo of what Book was talking about toward the stretch run of the season. I'm curious if you're kind of taking a lead from his remarks lately, if there's been any conversations with him. He told us he planned to be a lot more vocal about setting those priorities as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, Devin Booker's an amazing player. He's been here longer than me, probably longer than most of us here, right? I think, and so he's a franchise player. He's done amazing things. And, I speak with him, and we're very aligned on what we want to do and what we're going to do. And, his mission and my mission are very similar. Let's bring a championship to Phoenix. And he understands the vision and what we're going to do, and I understand his vision and how we're going to do it. And now we got to go execute. It's a lot of talk until you actually do it. And so I don't expect you guys to believe it or see it or feel it yet. Only thing I'll ask you to do is realize that a lot of things I said 2.5 years ago, we've implemented, from the fan experience to the community, to the culture, to the investment, to spending. Everything we said we were going to do, we did. Now we're going to do it on the basketball side as well.
Matt, when we first met you and you were introduced here, you mentioned that you're not going to get everything right, and that is going to be part of the process for you. With that in mind, what do you think has been the biggest mistake you've made so far as owner, and how have you learned from that mistake so far?
Yeah, so I've made a lot of mistakes, just like anybody in any business. Just like I'm sure you make mistakes. I'm sure you guys write articles you don't agree with. You think you should have said something differently. And so I've made a lot of mistakes, and guess what? I'll keep doing it. I promise that. The biggest mistake was, not running and setting the tone and identity, and kind of allowing it to kind of go as it was going, and not say, hey, we're going to take the bull by the horn and say, this is what we believe, and we're going to go all in this way. Because even if we don't win a championship that way, we're proud of it. and we stand behind it, and we're good with it. And that I didn't do a good enough job with. And so that's why I'm talking about that today, about the identity. And so I would have done a better job of saying, hey, what's Phoenix Suns basketball look like? Not just culture and fan experience, because I think we've done a great job of that stuff. And like I said, I think, everyone's going to focus on the winning, because I think that's what people care about the most. But there's a lot of things I, as an owner, have to do, and I'm going to keep getting better at all those things. But I should have done a better job of that. And then getting that alignment from me to the front office, to the coaching staff, to the players, and that would have maybe made some decisions differently about what player you acquire, what coach you hire, what decisions you make would have been different if I would have done a better job of that. And so that's why we reset today, and we do that, and it starts now. Thank you.
To your point about setting the identity and the tone of the Suns, obviously I'm sure you've heard all the accusations of being, an overly involved owner, new owner syndrome, all of that. So what does that kind of look like in terms of specifics for setting the tone? Is it a more hands-on approach, or how do you go about that?
Yeah, so, I believe, I'm the owner of the team, but I always say the team is the city's, Phoenix. My job is I serve the city, and try to deliver what I say we're going to deliver and what they would be proud of. And that's where the tone starts, right? And so the vision starts with me delivering for what the fans want, right? Which is a competitive team that's fun to watch, that competes out there and has a chance of winning a championship, right? And so that's what I believe. And so I'm not a believer that an owner, I'm going to buy a team and I'm going to buy the team and I'm going to go sit in the box and just watch and just cheer them on. And I have to be accountable as well. And just like any owner of any business, right? But I think the delineation, when people talk new owners, and like people are just silly. Is Matt making calls to the GM to make a trade? And what does Ishbia think about this draft pick? Like I think what my front office thinks about it, right? I'm with them, and now do I have to have the right front office, the right scouts, the right personnel? Of course, and that's on me. But new owner syndrome, that's just what the media likes to say. Just if we make a bad trade or something doesn't work the way we expect, it must be the new owner doing what I think it's an honor to be an owner in the NBA and the WNBA, and it's a privilege to be able to answer these questions, and it's going to be a privilege to answer these questions every year with you guys. And I believe that my job is to set the tone, my job is to set the vision, my job is to help execute that vision, to find the right people to deliver that, and to deliver that to the Suns fans and the Mercury fans here in Phoenix. And when we don't, I'll stand here and tell you we didn't do a good enough job. But new owner syndrome, he's trying to make a splash. No, we're trying to win. And and I'm going to follow the lead of the basketball experts, because I think I know basketball real well, but I don't know it as well as my front office or the scouts or the coaches. And so I'm with them, but I'm collaborative and I'm part of it. But don't think that I'm going to be, he owns a team, he's going to come to a couple of games and say good job guys and keep it moving. That's not me, and that's never going to be me here in Phoenix. Good. Thank you guys. Appreciate you being here.
Good. I'm going to just a quick thing. So I think Matt hit it. Appreciate you all being here, and good afternoon. Obviously, a very disappointing season, as Matt said. I know he takes accountability. James and I take a ton of accountability as well. We're partners in this, and we were set to go build a team that would win and win at the highest level and compete. And winning 36 games is not acceptable. So our job is to fix that. I think it starts with, as Matt said, defining what a Phoenix Suns player looks like, how we want it to feel. That was the hardest part for us, is watching these games and seeing we weren't connected, the energy, we weren't proud of it. So that work starts now. It's on us to do it, and we're excited to go do it.
And echoing what Josh and Matt said, I mean, we all know we had high expectations coming into the season. We didn't meet them and for various reasons, but ultimately getting back to our identity of playing defensive basketball, being great on both sides of the ball, and more importantly, playing with an edge and playing with passion is something we have to get back to. And so going forward, those will be key points of emphasis for us to make sure that we don't have seasons like this where we show up and we go home feeling like we didn't leave it all out there on the floor. So.
Hey guys, Mark McClune, Arizona's Family, 3TV, CBS 5. Thanks for the time today. Going back to the trade for Kevin and the roster construction with a big three, is there anything that wasn't obvious at the time about the roster construction and the vision for the team that's become obvious over the last 2 years?
I'd say the major thing is just defensively, right? Having more of a focus on building a strong defensive system to support those guys. I mean, because they both, I mean, all three of them, Kevin, Devin, and Brad, carry a heavy offensive load. And so when you get three offensive players, it requires more movement. And when you're asking them to give more effort, defensively you have to be extremely solid and have a deep defensive bench. And so if you look at it, you say the best way to help offensive players be successful over the long haul, not just for one season, but over 2 or 3 seasons, you have to have a deeper defensive bench. So if I had to say if there's one thing we would have done, it would have been to focus on that a little bit earlier.
Gerald Bourguet, PHNX Sports, good to see you both. This is for both of you guys. Obviously, Matt spent a lot of time clarifying kind of how the delineation of powers and decision-making works. Have you guys had any conversations about whether your guys' roles change at all moving forward?
I'll go first. No, as the CEO, Matt kind of said, when I met Matt 2 years ago, my job was to carry out his vision. And that's for the Mercury, the Suns, the business, the basketball, the Valley Suns now as well. And we've done a lot of those things to kind of hit on those pillars. And also to be able to advise and assist in basketball. We've done a lot of really, really good things. And Matt thinks differently. He pushes us. I think that's why we've been celebrated a lot for doing those things on the business side. But winning matters too. So I feel comfortable in my role because I know that what he wants to do, my job is to be here every single day doing it. But we got to do better here, and we will.
I just say, like, you can't win a championship or win multiple championships or be a high-functioning team or organization if you don't have balance and true partnership and collaboration. And so as things change, you use your specialty and your expertise to complement your teammate and make decisions and take a step forward and lead in certain areas when it's best for the team. And so me and Josh, we have a great working relationship. He's a leader whose charge is to make sure that Matt's vision for the franchise, not just the Suns, but the Mercury and the business altogether, that it's aligned and it's tied together. And my job is to make sure the how is done and executed flawlessly. And so that comes with me taking some of the initiative, but it's also being smart enough and aware enough to enlist the help of people whose true passion and true incentive is to make sure that this basketball thing runs right. And so we do it together. We'll always do it together. When it comes to basketball, that's me. That's my area of focus. I own that. I stand by that. And my job is to make sure we continue to improve. We change in the right ways. And if that means changing roles, if that means changing responsibilities, from year to year, those things change from moment to moment. But ultimately, whatever is best for the team is what we do.
Real quick, guys, just a couple of things. One, I'm curious. Matt obviously is visibly upset without a season win, and he basically was saying he's going to put more of his imprint on what happens. How are you guys feeling about him being even more involved in all the process with the team?
I think it's one of the biggest misconceptions. I didn't know Matt. Matt's involvement is pushing us, asking the right questions. He said Matt hasn't made one trade. He hasn't told James and I one free agent to sign or one draft pick. He's involved, and he should be involved because he's the owner. This is a big business, and these guys make a lot of money, and he asks the right questions because we want to win. But the work that James does, I do, our team does, making recommendations, and this is my 10th year in the NBA. James has been a lot longer. That's how every team works. Every owner wants to know the why behind it. Ultimately, they got to sign off because these are all investments. So he should be involved, and I can tell you one of the coolest things about my role is getting to hear how he does it, because he's had a lot of success in a lot of different things, and the success in the mortgage business, there's certainly themes and aspects that apply here. And we want to keep putting those in place. A lot of our values and visions are tied to that. So it's no concern to me at all. And the misconception of what he actually does is very, very flawed.
I mean, I love Matt's care factor. And more importantly, it's extremely helpful across all aspects of the organization to have an owner who's actively investing and actively listening to us, right? The challenges of winning and winning at a high level it's extremely difficult. This is the world's best league, and that's why we all want to be here. There's nothing better than having an owner who cares. That just means that he knows and is aware of the things that matter to you, and that's why you'll run through a wall for him.
Just a quick follow, looking at Kevin, what's the approach with him this offseason? Because obviously, before the season, you guys we love Kevin, we love him being here, and obviously what happened right before the trade deadline. What's the approach with Kevin in the offseason?
That hasn't changed. The fact that we aren't where we want to be from a winning perspective means that we have to look at everything. But a lot of changes that we'll make will be in the best interest of the team, and we evaluate all those things. And so Kevin, look, he had a tremendous season. Devin, Brad, those guys did great things individually. Right now we're just trying to figure out how to collectively move this team forward.
Lena, Washington 12 News. This is a two-parter for both of you. At what point in this season did you realize what you had constructed was not working and effective? And then how many pieces away are you from building the team that you want? Obviously, Devin is the franchise player. There's a coaching vacancy. But how many more pieces away are you from being not the team that you were this season?
I'd say around the beginning of the year. Matt said it. We talked at the beginning of the year, this new year, in January, and said that it just doesn't look like what we envisioned. We aren't playing hard consistently. We aren't executing on offense. There are too many flashes of greatness, but at the same time, too many lulls. And all the while, we're not seeing improvement. And as the league gets better, you also have to give credit to the NBA. The NBA, the level of competitiveness, a lot of teams were moving forward with the way the NBA is built now. Defensive aggression, athleticism, in transition, offensive rebounding, attacking the rim. All of those things were things that we did not see progress in. And so how many pieces away are we? We have players on our team right now who have the ability to shift gears. It's not that we don't have the capacity to do it. We just didn't demonstrate it. And so we'll change and improve internally, and then we'll look to see what avenues in the draft and free agency that will allow us to build a better team. There's no magic number. We're out here saying we need to add 2 players, where every other team that's competing or that's not in the playoffs, they're saying the same thing. We just need to make sure that the guys that we do have understand how we play, how we will play, how we compete, and then we can go out there, once we set that vision for our franchise, we can go and find out how many guys out there actually can do it, and then we'll try to get as many of those as we can.
James, when Kevin and Devin were on the floor together this year, you guys were barely outscoring other teams. That does not stand to the caliber of players that they are and what we normally expect out of a duo like that. Why do you think the two of them did not work well together this year in terms of getting that type of production you would expect?
I think you said it. We were barely outscoring teams, but defensively, we weren't doing enough. And they're great offensive players. They will always give us an offensive boost. We just have to be better at making sure that the opponent isn't as efficient offensively, and more importantly, that we put ourselves in a position to capitalize on their offensive greatness more.
Guys, Doug Haller at The Athletic. Matt talked a lot about making sure you get this next head coaching hire right. You just went through 2 coaches who had won championships. Is there anything that you do in this process differently to try to get this right guy?
Time. I think it was evident, given the time crunch and given where we were, that it wasn't as thorough or as deep as a search as we would like. Unfortunately, but fortunately for us, the season ended early, so it gives us more time to get this right. Unfortunately, the season ended too early, which means that we're in this position. But we're going to be diligent, and like I said, we're going to match the coach to the design of the franchise. The coach has to live and breathe and agree with everything that we're about. And that's the only way you can sustain it. It's easy to do it for a month. It's easy to do it for 6 months, a year, if you don't believe it and you don't live it. But over time, when you realize just how much we care about it, how important it is to us, and how intertwined it is into the daily fabric of the Phoenix Suns, if you're not about it, you won't be able to live it. So we're going to take our time. We're going to identify the attributes and traits that will resonate with our fans, resonate with our players, but more importantly, that I call the winning attributes that are sustainable.
The only thing I would add is, the league's changed on the last 2 years, the way it's officiated, athlete size. You look at the teams that are having success in the regular season, so level of innovation and doing things differently. And I think Matt's points and James's points on starting with what do we want, what do we stand for. It's an organizational thing, and the coach has to fit into that. And of course, they have a seat at the table and are going to have ideas on how to make this team the best. But there's a fabric of who we're going to be that's not going to change year to year and coach to coach.
Thanks.